And of course, viewers, well, I'm Kandace Jackson, and we are going to get into our conversation this morning. One of the things that's been on the minds of many people here in Tobago is that of our crime situation and what is being done about it, particularly what's being done at the THA level. Now, first of all, at the THA level, there's little that can be done because the the THA Act, does not give authority to the THA to have its own security services and that sort of thing. So it is completely dependent on the central government to execute those matters of national security. And of course, that has been some concern here in Tobago. And over the years, Tobago has tried to get that changed. I know that under the of a London-led administration in the early 2000s, there was a bill proposed to Parliament to allow Tobago to have its own police force. Well, of course, that bill never really got to Parliament. It went to the Cabinet, it never got to Parliament, and that's where we've been since. But there is another attempt now to sort of establish some sort of security force here in Tobago because it is a major concern right now. And to tell us a little bit about that, we are being joined by the Chief Technical Advisor at the Division of Finance, Trade and the Economy, Mr. Anslem Richards. So good morning and welcome to you, Mr. Richards.
Good morning, Kandace. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, world. Thanks for having me, wherever you are.
Certainly. So this morning we are talking about a Department of Public Safety for Tobago. Now, first of all, what is the idea behind this Department of Public Safety?
Okay, so the Department of Public Safety has its genesis in the fact that the government the government at any level, their primary role and function is the protection of life, liberty, and the enjoyment of property of the citizenry over which they exercise jurisdiction. What has happened in Tobago, and because of the legal and constitutional construct, the THA has not been legally assigned that responsibility. If you look across the world, you will see at different tiers of government or different levels of government, there's a security component. Even in our own country, at the city level, you have the city police, you have the borough police. If you go to the United States, at the county levels, at the state level, and at the federal level, there's a security component, which is really there to carry out that core function and responsibility of government. In the THA case and in the construct of this Twin Island Republic, that is missing from the THA space. So this initiative to establish a Department of Public Safety and Risk Analysis is really not a new invention. It is just something that was not being observed by Trinidad and Tobago in the context of Tobago and the context of the THA. So this administration has taken an express policy position to establish a Department of Public Safety that will treat with some of the core public safety issues that are affecting the people of Tobago. It is not intended in any way and by policy to replace or displace the national police. It is a complementary and supporting initiative that will give us a wider net in terms of our security efforts to secure the citizens and residents of this island and visitors to this island. So that unit is intended to amalgamate all the entities and agencies of the THA that has a public safety function or responsibility. So we are looking at one. We know the old THA efforts to establish the THA police.
Yes.
So we are going to establish that. That can be established without any request or any requirement for a new legislation. There is the Supplemental Police Act, and we are going to use that legislation for the THA to set up its security services style or call the THA police. We have done the research already, the legal research of all the legal parameters, and the response or the findings are very positive. We are going to establish under that department the litter warden section, traffic warden section. We are going to bring under that department TEMA. We are going to bring the forest rangers, the lifeguards, and the reef rangers, and any other agencies within the public space, also to the public health department, because there's a serious function in Tobago for that department to deal with food safety in the Tobago space and what is happening in our space. And that unit will be treating collectively with all those issues that speaks to public safety. Remember, we are not talking security per se, right? When we talk security, we're talking about public safety is a broader domain than security. So when we talk, so we are more specific, focusing on those lower level, lighter thing, criminality and that kind of thing, and murders will remain the domain of the national police. But the THA has a role and a function to protect the assets of the island in terms of our public safety responsibility for the persons who are working for the THA, the assets of the THA, the visitors to the island. And that's a core function and responsibility of government anywhere in the world.
So legislatively, how will this work? Because, you know, we can create these policies, but unless there's the law supporting these policies, it's just a policy.
Right. So the beauty here, there are legislation already in place that gives the THA the ability to establish that. As I said, the Supplemental Police Bill gives the THA the authority to set up a security services style, the THA police, just like the port police, the airport police, the city police, the borough police. They are all functioning under the Supplemental Police Bill. So the law is there already. It is just for the THA to activate the administrative processes to have that established. We have had conversation before under the last regime when Mr. London was the chief secretary with the state parliamentary council and the chief parliamentary council, and that is an easy thing. It's just that you do the application, the president will issue the warrant or the order, and we have the supplemental police established under the THA.
So in other words, we don't need permission from the parliament to do this public safety initiative?
No. There's no requirement for no parliamentary approval. Okay. There's absolutely no requirement for any parliamentary approval. And that's why I said before that we would have done the research, checking all the legal remits, and the pathway is clear for this department to be established. So this is a go. We are moving into the next phase. We are setting out the parameters for implementation. And I think that we are moving to have this thing up and running probably before the start of fiscal 2025.
Give us an idea of how, you know, this would help to contribute to a safer Tobago.
Right. So this will help to contribute in many ways. So you will have the deployment of the THA police. So in core and key areas of Tobago, the THA police, because the Tobago is the THA estate, for want of a better word. Just like the port property there is the estate of the Port Authority, so then the Port Authority police has jurisdiction to ensure public safety and security on that estate under the Supplemental Police Bill. In the context of Tobago, the island of Tobago by law is the jurisdiction of the THA. So anywhere in Tobago that requires the presence of security and public safety officers, the THA has by law the right and entitlement to deploy its officers in those areas. So that you can see how that will work and create a safer environment for all of us, right? The issue of littering is a public function, public safety issue. It speaks to our health and the cleanliness of our island. We can deploy the litter wardens there. The Act provides for the THA to have litter wardens. We have spoken already. The Act provides, the Traffic Warden Act provides for the island to have its own deployment of traffic wardens. So those things are in law already. It's just for the administrative processes to be done so that the THA can have those functionalities active in the Tobago space.
So when this is established, what's the amount of force are we talking about in terms of, you know, what portion, what number of officers would be, or I don't know, what number of persons would function in the role as a litter warden, traffic warden, reef police, that sort of thing?
Right. So we are doing what we call the public safety assessment, and that will inform in terms of the different categories of issues that fall under the public safety matrix. That will inform the requirement, the response that is needed. However, the intention of the THA is to grow this institution or this department incrementally over time. Okay. We're not going to come in with a big bang, and when it starts, you will see 2,200 police officers, THA police officers all over the place. That will be grossly chaotic to manage. So we are going to do the public safety assessment or risk assessment, and we are going to grow the growth of this department to the level it ought to be incrementally over time, because remember, we'll have to accumulate the assets to give them the functionality that is required in this space, the training issues, you know, remuneration, and all those things are very, very calculating decision that has to be made. But the important thing is that this administration have established a public position on this matter, and is moving forward because there's a need for it in this space. There's certainly a need, because we can see the gaps in our security reality now. We have seen the emergence of a crime trend that is very discomforting to all of us. at this point in our time in 2024, we have 4 murders recorded already. We have seen the ugly face of gun violence on the island. And I'm saying that with safety officers around the island, there will be a level of deterrent for these activities to take
And
place.
what sort of budget are we talking about in terms of the initial step to establish it?
Right. So the beauty with this is that the THE have been expending significant sum on acquiring security services from the private security. If you go across the THA division, you will see security officers there. So that alone speaks to the need for a department like this within the THA. However, we are not intended to disrupt the public enterprise in this regard. So, and that's why I'm saying we are going to do the public safety risk analysis, and then we are going to do the calculation, because we don't want to displace in any significant way. Although this unit will create opportunities for some of those officers who are working with the private security to transition or migrate over into the THA employ, which will create some stable, predictable jobs with probably better pay, income, and all of that. We don't want to displace or disrupt private enterprise. So it's a very delicate balance that we need to strike where this is concerned. And therefore, we are going to do the calculation, and we are going to ensure that we get the best return on our investment. The THA, and I have the figures here, but it will probably take me some time. we have been spending significant sum on the acquiring of security services over the years. I think we have spent in the last 5 years over $70 million in acquiring security services. So the funding is there already for this unit. In other words, if you can put it that, because we can just transfer these funds that we are paying to private security to fund this to some level and still acquire some services from the private enterprises to fill the gap. Instead of going the 100%, we may say, well, okay, because of our security needs, we are going to provide 50 or 60%, and we are going to contract the next 40 from private enterprise. Those are the kinds of mathematical calculation that we need to do. And I can use a live example to bring this home. At the Division of Finance, we have a mixture there, because there are some THA public servant security officers. You can see them there in the khaki uniform when you come in.
Yes.
Right? And then we mix that with the private security services to give us the complement of security that we need at the Division of Finance. That is the kind of model that we are going to use when this unit is effected and operationalized.
And then when it comes to the conversations with the various arms of national security, I'm talking here, of course, the police, the Coast Guard, and that sort of thing. What's the conversation like as you all are going forth in establishing this public safety department?
Well, right. So that's a very important question. And what is good here is that the Chief Secretary has been holding this conversation with all the arms of national security in the island, which he dubs his own Island Security Council, National Security Council, right? It's not a new initiative. It's something that Mr. London has been doing over the years. He has been having heads of section. When I was at the THA, I attend those meetings with Mr. London, and I do attend them with this Chief Secretary. So that's a standing operation policy. So there's that collaboration effort already, and the relationships are being built. The THA will roll out and set up the parameters of its operation to these agencies, and then we'll have the whole coming together, and then you will have the island security net being weaved out of those conversations. So where the THA police, the private security connects with the national police, then you can see the security blanket being built out to provide the kind of security and safety that we are desperately yearning for in Tobago at this particular point in our history.
And let's just say, let's say the police or just that one force per se, are they in favor of this initiative?
Well, I think the police is going to welcome any assistance that they can receive in any form or fashion once it is legally and properly constituted. And I think key to this, that will answer this question, is the level of training and capacity building that will inform the operational capabilities of the officers who are working under the THA security services. I think the intention of this administration is really to establish not just take somebody off the street and put them in a uniform and call them a THA police. I think the training protocol will be one that will bring them in terms of the operations, the operational capabilities and capacity, probably at par with the national police in terms of their investigative skills and so forth. Because you see, whether we like it or not, the Tobago and Tobago House of Assembly and Tobagonians have to prepare to take responsibility for their own safety and security. And therefore, if we are setting up a unit like that, the level of preparation and the level of institutional building and capabilities has to be at that level. So we have to make the investment. This is an investment in the future security of Tobago and Tobagonians, and therefore we have to understand the importance of a function like this for the Tobago House Assembly and make the necessary investment and necessary and required investment in the training, the acquisition of technology, the exposure of the officers, building the institutional relationship across the security ecosystem, and therefore this is something that must be well thought out, well invested in, and the conversation is really the glue of efficiency across the agencies.
And then give me a little bit of an idea of what it would take in terms of equipment, in terms of training and that sort of thing.
Right. So one of the things we are looking at is what is the minimum level of training and the type of training that these officers are to be exposed to. So one, we want them to understand the whole issue of the traffic laws, especially those persons who are working in our traffic warden department. So what are the traffic laws, the regulation, and their authority within that? Right? What are the things that they have to do? Should they make a case and they have to go to the court so they can give the kind of evidence to secure the conviction, because we don't want to engage or in an activity that brings lawsuit to the THA when their officers, you know, exercise their authority under the law to apprehend someone. In the case of the police, a similar thing, criminal investigation, the different type of offenses, what are the ingredients or the characteristics or the activity that constitute the offense that might have been committed in their view. What is the authority under law to apprehend, or whether they have to take the notes and report this to the national police. So they will understand their jurisdiction within the space and within the context of the law. And therefore, so we give them the training. They will have to have fire, and in terms of the police, the use of firearm, the protocols for the use of firearm, because they will be holders of most likely fire employees certificate to use the firearm. So we have to do the firearm training protocols to ensure that they understand how to properly manage and use the firearm, and they also will be training when they will be required, and on what occasion can they really discharge a firearm, and in what circumstances, right? The collection of evidence, the preservation of crime scene. So it's you know, the acquisition of technology will be like, you know, what kind of surveillance technology we probably need to deploy in the Tobago space. Are we going to build out a CCTV network in Tobago? Because that is.
And then who is going to monitor that?
Well, then we'll have a CCTV unit that will look at that, and then alongside that, if you understand how that works, you have to have a forensic department in the CCTV setup that speaks to how you extract the footage for court purposes. I don't think we have done that sufficiently at the national level, but my experience attending international conferences speaks to that requirement, that it has to be just like how we have a forensic lab that looks at the drugs and so forth to ascertain that they are in fact marijuana or cocaine, or the white substance that was found is in fact cocaine. There's a requirement now with the CCTV infrastructure for a forensic unit to pull these are persons who are trained and certified. So when they pull the footage for a crime scene and they go to the court, their evidence on that is classified as professional evidence. Right, and it is not challenged. So like you and I might take a picture here and we see it here and thing, but we are not professionally trained to put those videos together in a forensic manner, and therefore all that will be part of the training to ensure that we cover all the legal parameters and all the legal requirements, so that when our officers under this department act, they act within the law, they act within the jurisdiction of their authority, you know, and the THA and the public is protected from any litigation that may come from their action. Although you will always find opportunities for people to challenge the system, but once we operate within the confines of the law, then there is nothing for you to really defend per se, because the law protects you.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Richards, for being here and to give us an insight into the establishment of this public safety department. And I know a lot of people are looking on and they're looking to see something substantial to assist with the safety in Tobago.
Well, that's the mandate. I think this is one of the pet piece or the poster piece of the Chief Secretary. He really wants to see this take place.
Yes.
And I think this is one of his big legacy items that he wants to leave for the people of Tobago as Chief Secretary. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And thanks for
And of
sharing.
course, this is something that we at Tobago Updates will continue to follow as it develops. Well, viewers, we're going to go for a quick break, but we'll be right back right after this.